What is up? Welcome to the Existential Stoic podcast. Do you wish you were more persuasive? Maybe you could change people's minds, or people would listen to you, or maybe look to you, as somebody to follow or as a leader. Well, today you're in luck because today we're going to talk about how to be more persuasive. I'm Danny, and I'm my buddy Randy. What's up, Randy?
Hey, Danny.
Yeah, why do you think persuasion or being persuasive rather? What do you think of when you think of that, I guess?
Well, half of me thinks of this like slimy used car dealer, but then the other half, I think the other half is like people. A lot of people want to persuade others because one, we want to be in control, and two, we want a feeling of importance. So if people listen to us and do what we say, we feel important. So it checks all those boxes to
Yeah.
kind of make us feel good.
Yeah, it does. It's funny. I always think of it in those two ways too. You have like the one way in which it's like sleazy, but the other way in which it's like almost like admirable, I guess, or like it's a positive trait. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where if you do it correctly, the people you persuade should think they did it themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where it's like you didn't do anything almost, right? Like, and
Yep.
it's done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's help people get there. Then we'll give them some tips. I'm starting since my week. My first one is, I think, one that I think a lot of people might think of, which is be confident. I think thinking about how to bolster your self confidence or just being confident what you're doing, whether that means gaining the requisite knowledge and skills so you know what you're talking about, being comfortable with yourself, knowing what you're going after. All of those things are important because I think if you're confident, people see that and they respond to it, and they'll be persuaded by you because you'll present yourself as someone who knows what they're doing and is knows themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When people see that you believe in yourself, they're more likely to believe in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So my first one for how to be more persuasive is care about others. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And really, you can't fake it because people can pick up on that. So you really have to care about other people because honestly, why would you want to persuade them if you didn't care about them? Like I always got this thing when teachers were ragging on me and stuff, and I would get all bummed. People would be like, at least they care. Like if the person didn't care at all, they wouldn't be giving you any criticism. So I try and remind myself of that you need to care about people. And once they know how much they care about you, then you're much more likely to persuade them.
That's a good one too, though. I think that's a really important one. And the example is a good one because I think most of us can like kind of relate to that, right? Like if you really do care about somebody, you want to persuade them about what's right, or you want to persuade them to do better, right? And so you're more apt to like also, if you keep that in mind, to recognize when there's good persuasion around you or positive persuasion. So that's good. And also, yeah, you need to care about others, I think. I think that goes kind of nicely with my second one too, which is be open and adaptable. And I think this has to do with like one, you have to, if you want to persuade others, you have to listen to them. You have to understand kind of where they are and where they're coming from in order to help them get to where they need to be, in a sense. But you also have to be open and adaptable to their situation to understand, this goes with caring, right? If you care about them, you're going to be more open and ready to adapt what you need to in order to sort of suit their needs to help them get there and to persuade them that, you're on the right side and you're doing the right thing,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm not sure about other people, but I know myself when somebody's trying to sell me something, I'm just not interested. But like when I'm
Yeah.
allowed to discover it myself and find out myself, I'm much more interested. It's like the whole military thing. Like they persuade you, but it's by force. And that only
Yeah.
really works in the military. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my second one is you have to love yourself first and take care of yourself first. Because here's the thing, it kind of goes similar to with your first one of confidence. But this is basically like, if you look at people who you follow and who you admire, it's because they've done something with themselves. They love who they are. They're an exemplar in a community. They maybe have achieved some type of business success or whatever it is. But it's because they took care of themselves first, not because they're peddling to get your approval, not because they're trying to
Yeah.
persuade you. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that one too, because what it made me think of too is like if somebody's like playing the victim, if somebody's like, you know, down all the time and regular, like you're not going to be persuaded by them. You're just not, because what they're selling is not something most people want, right? You don't want to be in that situation. So it's like you have to be. I think you have to take care of your mental health and your physical health and everything first, because if you're not there, kind of like giving it your all, nobody else is going to, and nobody else is going to care what you have to say either. I think that's a great one. Yeah. That goes actually really nicely with my last one, which is be an example. I think, when we want to persuade others, a lot of times, especially I think when it has to do with like character, when it has to do with like integrity, things like this, that you have to then embody those things to a degree higher than, at least higher than the people you're interacting with, right? I mean, I think you have to be that next level up so that they can look at you as, oh, if this is what you mean, then, being dependable, showing up on time all the time, you do that. So I know what you mean by that, right? Or like doing what you say, always, always being there, or always getting the things done when you say you're going to get them done. Like, I mean, those are simple things, but like you have to do it first if you want to persuade others to do it.
Yeah, that's essential. There's nothing worse than the boss who tells you to come in on time and then comes in consistently late every day.
Yeah.
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 So that you definitely have to lead by example there. Otherwise, people just are going to blow you off. So
Yeah.
my last one is don't try. Because
Uh-huh.
we all know tryhards who are like trying to persuade you, and you're just like, get away from me, like leave me alone.
Yeah.
But like it really is like oftentimes it's in negotiations is the person who wants it less who wins, and it's the
Yeah.
same thing in persuasion. Like if you're really trying to get somebody to do it, they're just not going to be interested. It's important to care about others, but you also can't care too much because then you come off as a tryhard, and nobody wants that.
No, I think that's actually right. I think, it's funny too. I think we're also attracted to people who like seem to have things together, but aren't putting like a lot of effort into it, and aren't like really like, they're not actively putting a ton of work in to make it happen, right? That it just is almost natural. And I think there's something about that that's really appealing because they also sort of, they're like all the other things we said, they're adaptable and stuff too, because they recognize that like this one thing isn't going to make or break something if they can really do it, right? That there's always that next one. So that's why I think they are better in like, negotiations and stuff because they understand the larger picture. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's a good
Yeah,
one. Don't
it's
try.
almost like the Tao, like the
Yeah.
the action of non-action or the way of no way, whatever that is.
Yeah, yeah. Going with the current, not against it, kind of
Hmm.
understanding the natural flow and being a part of it. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
that's
It's
true.
like the less
And
you
that you
try,
kind of,
sometimes the more you do.
yeah, yeah. The more you two are just part of it and embody it. I like that. So that's it then. How to be persuasive. Hopefully these tips will help you guys. It's a short, quick fix. We'll be back later with a full-length episode. Check us out on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Like, share, subscribe, do all that. It helps us out a lot. We appreciate it. But until then, later, Randy.
Later, Danny.